بلیٹن میں سب سے پہلے آپ کو بتائیں ٹرمپ نے ایرانی پاور پلانٹس پر حملے 5 دن کے لیے روکنے کا اعلان کرتے ہوئے کہا ہے کہ وہ یہ اقدام 2 دن سے جاری مذاکرات میں مثبت ایرانی رویے کے پیش نظر کر رہے ہیں۔
اپنے سوشل میڈیا ٹروتھ سوشل پر انگریزی کے جلی حروف میں پیغام جاری کر کے ٹرمپ نے کہا کہ 2 دن سے جاری ایران امریکہ مذاکرات میں ایران کا رویہ مثبت رہا، جس کو دیکھتے ہوئے انہوں نے محکمہ جنگ سے کہا کہ 5 دن تک ایرانی پاور پلانٹس اور بجلی کی تنصیبات پر کسی قسم کا کوئی حملہ نہ کیا جائے۔ اس کے بعد فلوریڈا میں میڈیا ٹاک میں ٹرمپ نے بتایا ایران اور امریکہ ڈیل کی کوئی ضمانت نہیں، لیکن یہ طے ہے کہ امریکہ اور ایران دونوں ڈیل کے بیشتر نکات پر متفق ہیں اور دونوں ڈیل کرنا چاہتے ہیں۔ ایران کو افزودہ یورینیم امریکہ کے حوالے کرنی ہوگی۔ مشرق وسطی میں امن کے لیے ضروری ہے کہ کسی کے پاس ایٹمی ہتھیار یا افزودہ یورینیم ہو۔ ڈیل ہوئی تو ابنائے ہرمز کو فوری کھولنا ہوگا۔
No, we have a very serious chance of making a deal. That doesn't guarantee anything. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not going to come out here in a week or 2 weeks and have you all say, oh, you said, I didn't say anything. All I'm saying is we are in the throes of a real possibility of making a deal. And I think if I were a betting man, I'd bet for it. But again, I'm not guaranteeing anything. They want to make a deal very badly. 15 points. 15 points.
Iran has said yes.
Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
Said yes to that?
They've agreed to that. Situation with Iran take place last night. And by the way, they're just not communicating. When they say, I'm sure they don't mean that. When somebody says, oh, I didn't know you were talking. We were talking last night. And I'm sure they have a lack of communication, which is appropriate considering we blew up, in addition to their Navy, Air Force, every division, their radar. We also blew up all of their anti-aircraft and communication. So they have no telecommunication. So there is a lack of, I would imagine, a lack of coordination.
If you're worried about the miscommunication.
Well, we think.
ٹرمپ نے دعویٰ کیا کہ ان کی ایک اور اہم قابل احترام ایرانی شخصیت سے بات ہوئی ہے جس کا نام وہ نہیں بتانا چاہتے۔ ٹرمپ نے کہا کہ ان کی بات سپریم لیڈر مجتبیٰ خامنائی سے نہیں ہوئی ہے۔
Khomeini was killed. Khomeini's son is unavailable. Nobody knows what happened to him. I could say they haven't seen him there either. Something is going on with him. But regardless, I don't consider him really the leader. But they do have some leaders left because we blew up group number 1, group number 2, a lot of group number 3. But we think we have people that are very representative of the country and will do a good job in Russia. Everybody's been killed from the regime. They're really starting off. There's automatically a regime change. But we're dealing with some people that I find to be very reasonable, very solid. The people within know who they are. They're very respected. And maybe one of them will be exactly what we're looking for. Look at Venezuela, how well that's working out. We are doing so well in Venezuela with oil and with the relationship between the president-elect and us. And maybe we find somebody like that in Iran.
Is there any more options to lower the price of oil while it's not?
The price of oil will drop like a rock as soon as a deal is done. I guess it already is today.
خطے میں امریکی میرینز کی تعیناتی پر ٹرمپ بولے وہ جنگی حکمت عملی پر بات نہیں کرتے۔ امریکی صدر نے دعویٰ کیا کہ مذاکرات کے لیے ایران نے امریکہ سے رابطہ کیا ہے، امریکہ نے ایران سے نہیں۔
اور ابھی آپ کو ایک خبر دے، برطانوی اخبار فائنینشیل ٹائمز نے کہا ہے کہ فیلڈ مارشل آرمی چیف عاصم منیر نے اتوار کو امریکی صدر ٹرمپ سے بات چیت کی ہے۔ برطانوی اخبار نے لکھا ہے کہ پاکستان خود کو ایران کے خلاف جنگ کے خاتمے کے لیے ایک مرکزی ثالث کے طور پر پیش کر رہا ہے، اور سینئر پاکستانی حکام ایرانی عہدیداروں اور وٹکوف اور جیرڈ کشنر کے درمیان بیک چینلز رابطے کروا رہے ہیں۔ برطانوی اخبار فائنینشیل ٹائمز نے خبر دی ہے کہ فیلڈ مارشل عاصم منیر نے اتوار کو امریکی صدر ٹرمپ سے بات چیت کی ہے۔ برطانوی اخبار نے لکھا ہے کہ پاکستان خود کو ایران کے خلاف جنگ کے خاتمے کے لیے ایک مرکزی ثالث کے طور پر پیش کر رہا ہے، اور سینئر پاکستانی حکام ایرانی عہدیداروں اور اسٹیو وٹکوف اس کے علاوہ جیرڈ کشنر کے درمیان بیک چینلز رابطے کروا رہے ہیں۔ اس سے پہلے امریکی جریدے کی جانب سے بھی پاکستان کے اہم کردار سے متعلق خبر سامنے آ چکی ہے، جس کے بعد ایک اہم ترین اعلان سامنے آیا، اور اس میں امریکی صدر ڈونلڈ ٹرمپ کی جانب سے اعلان کیا گیا کہ ان کی جانب سے ایرانی پاور پلانٹس پر حملے 5 دن کے لیے روکنے کا اعلان کیا جاتا ہے۔ ان کا کہنا تھا کہ یہ فیصلہ 2 دن سے جاری امریکہ ایران مذاکرات کے حوالے سے اور مثبت ایرانی رویہ دیکھ کر کیا۔ اب برطانوی اخبار فائنینشیل ٹائمز نے خبر دی ہے کہ فیلڈ مارشل आसिम मुनीर ने इतवार को अमरीकी सदर ट्रंप से बातचीत की है। बरतानवी अखबार ने लिखा कि पाकिस्तान खुद को ईरान के खिलाफ जंग के खात्मे के लिए एक मरकजी सालिस के तौर पर पेश कर रहा है। सीनियर पाकिस्तानी हुकाम ईरानी अहदेदारों स्टीव विटकॉफ और जेरेड कुशनर के दरमियान बैक चैनल्स राब्ते करवाने का अहम तरीन किरदार अदा कर रहे हैं। ईरान की महर न्यूज़ एजेंसी ने तेहरान की वजारत ख़ारजा के हवाले से खबर दी है कि अमरीका और ईरान के दरमियान कशीदगी कम करवाने की कोशिशें हो रही हैं। इससे पहले ईरानी वजारत ख़ारजा के बाज़ अहदेदारों ने ईरान अमरीका मुज़ाकरात की तरदीद की थी और कहा था कि ट्रंप का बयान सिर्फ तेल की कीमतों में कमी करने और मुमकिन मज़ीद हमलों के लिए वक्त लेने की खातिर जारी किया गया है। अमरीका और ईरान के दरमियान मुज़ाकरात और इससे मुताल्लिक़ अहम फ़ैसलों में किरदार अदा करने के हवाले से मज़ीद ख़बरें भी आ चुकी हैं। अमरीका और ईरान के मुज़ाकरात इसी हफ़्ते इस्लामाबाद में होने का भी इम्कान है। ईरान की मुज़ाकराती टीम की क़यादत मुमकिन तौर पर ईरानी पार्लियामेंट के स्पीकर बाकर कालिबाफ करेंगे, जबकि ये इम्कान है कि अमरीकी मुज़ाकराती टीम नायब सदर JD वेंस की क़यादत में इसमें शामिल होगी।
गैर मुल्की खबर एजेंसी रॉयटर्स ने अमरीकी वेब मैगजीन एक्सियोस के रिपोर्टर बारक रवीद की सोशल मीडिया पोस्ट के हवाले से खबर दी है कि अमरीका और ईरान मुज़ाकरात पाकिस्तान, तुर्की और मिस्र की सहूलतकारी में हुए हैं। बारक रवीद ने सोशल मीडिया पर लिखा है कि मशरिक़ वस्ता में कशीदगी कम करने के लिए पाकिस्तान, तुर्की और मिस्र के हुक्काम कोशिशें कर रहे हैं। ये तीनों मुल्क अमरीका और ईरान के हुक्काम से राब्ते करके उनके दरमियान पैगामात का तबादला करा रहे हैं। बारक रवीद ने मजीद लिखा कि इसराइली हुकाम ने तस्दीक की है कि मुसालहत कराने वाले मुल्क चाहते हैं कि इस हफ्ते इस्लामाबाद में अमरीकी नायब सदर JD वेंस, नुमाइंदा खुसूसी स्टीव विटकॉफ और ट्रंप के दामाद जेरेड कुशनर की ईरानी स्पीकर बाकर गालिबाफ की क़यादत में एक ईरानी वफ़द से मुलाकात कराई जाए। इससे पहले बारक रवीद की इब्तदाई पोस्ट के मुताबिक तुर्की, मिस्र और पाकिस्तान के हुक्काम ने स्टीव विटकॉफ और अब्बास इराक़ची से अलग अलग पैगामात का तबादला किया। बारक रवीद ने इसराइली हुक्काम के हवाले से मजीद लिखा कि इसराइली हुक्काम इस बात से तो बाखबर हैं कि कई ममालिक ईरान और अमरीका में बातचीत के लिए कोशां हैं, लेकिन वो ट्रंप के इन अल्फाज पर हैरान हैं कि इन राब्तों में पेशरफ्त भी हो रही है और 15 नुकात पर बज़ाहिर इत्तेफाक भी हो चुका है।
एक और अहम खबर यह है कि जियो न्यूज़ के नुमाइंदे एजाज सैयद ने तर्जुमान दफ्तर ख़ारजा से सवाल किया कि क्या ईरान अमरीका मुज़ाकरात पाकिस्तान में हो रहे हैं, जिस पर तर्जुमान दफ्तर ख़ारजा ने यह कहा कि फ़िलहाल इस पर बात नहीं कर सकते। क्या ईरान अमरीका मुज़ाकरात पाकिस्तान में हो रहे हैं? जियो न्यूज़ के नुमाइंदे ने तर्जुमान दफ्तर ख़ारजा से सवाल किया, जिस पर तर्जुमान दफ्तर ख़ारजा ने यह जवाब दिया है कि फ़िलहाल इस पर बात नहीं कर सकते। हम तफसील हासिल करेंगे जियो न्यूज़ के नुमाइंदे एजाज सैयद से। एजाज, आपने ये सवाल किया, क्या जवाब दिया तर्जुमान दफ्तर ख़ारजा ने और क्या इस हवाले से कोई और अहम मालूमात भी उनकी जानिब से शेयर की गई है?
जी बिल्कुल, तर्जुमान दफ्तर खारजा से हमने ये सवाल किया, लेकिन उन्होंने इसका जवाब देने से गुरेज किया। उन्होंने कहा फिलहाल हम इसके ऊपर बात नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हमें वजारत खारजा के आला हुकाम ने इस बात की तस्दीक की है कि पाकिस्तान एक अहम किरदार अदा कर रहा है। इस वक्त जो ईरान के मामलात हो रहे हैं अमरीका के साथ, उनमें पाकिस्तान एक अहम किरदार अदा कर रहा है। ये आला हुकाम ने हमें तस्दीक की है कि पाकिस्तान एक कलीदी किरदार अदा कर रहा है और पाकिस्तान मुसलसल राब्ते में है वाशिंगटन से भी और पाकिस्तान मुसलसल राब्ते में है तेहरान से भी। जी
बहुत शुक्रिया आपका एजाज सैयद। अमरीकी सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप इस वक्त तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे हैं।
I've directed the Department of War to temporarily postpone planned strikes against major energy and electricity targets in Iran. They have very, very big new, actually, and very expensive, billions of dollars it costs to build them. One missile, one of our powerful ones, and it comes down to the ground like it was made out of dust. But to determine whether a broader agreement can be reached, we've had very good discussions, very, very good discussions. And you have to understand, I know my whole life has been a negotiation, but with Iran, we've been negotiating for a long time. And this time, they mean business. And it's only because of the great job that our military did is the reason they mean business. They want to settle, and we're going to get it done, I hope. So hopefully this will be possible, but no matter what, we'll ensure that Iran never obtains a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. They would have had one if we allowed the Obama deal to stand. That was the Iran nuclear deal, they called it. They would have had one. Marcia 3. Well, I tell you what, Martha, we would have nuclear weapons up there when, would you say, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or 4 years ago? We would have been in a position that nobody wants to be in. We won't allow ourselves to be in that position. Over the past 3 weeks, the United States military and our partners have been decimating Iran's military capabilities with overwhelming firepower, skill, lethality, and force, and we're destroying their ballistic missiles and drones programs with launchers down by more than 90%. We're hitting their launchers at a level that nobody even thought of before. 90%. They can't launch them, and they don't have very many of them because most of them have been annihilated. But we've annihilated their defense industrial base, eliminating their Navy. We had 158 ships are down. I said to my people, why didn't you capture the ship? I said, were they good or not? They said, they were great, sir. So why didn't you capture it? We could have used them. They said, it's more fun to put them at the bottom of the sea. But they're not there anymore. So we eliminated their Navy, Pete, right? And that's gone. We eliminated their Air Force. We eliminated all of their air defense, everything. We eliminated everything there is to eliminate, and we eliminated them. We eliminated their leaders. We had the first set of leaders. They're gone. Then they met, 88 people met. And it's sad. I mean, it's sad they couldn't have made a deal. We could have made a deal with them a long time ago. Then the second set, 88 people met to pick a new leader, and they're now extinguished. And then they're meeting again, but now nobody wants to be the leader. It's one of the few political jobs that nobody wants anywhere in the world. Nobody wants it. It's a very dangerous job. My job is dangerous too, but their job is worse. In other words, we're systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America. They're not threatening us anymore. As Commander-in-Chief, it's my sacred responsibility to protect our country from all threats. For decades, Iran refused every opportunity to renounce its nuclear ambitions, and in recent months, its own negotiators bragged to our representatives about having enough material to make nuclear weapons. And that was supposed to deter me, but it didn't deter. It made me more anxious, and it just made it much more important. This mission that we're all on together was much more important, and we did it quicker. Iran's missile capabilities were also growing so fast that it would soon have become virtually impossible to stop them. Once they have a missile, once they have what they were building was incredible. And you got a little glimpse of it by the fact that when they came out, they started shooting all of their neighbors. Their neighbors weren't fighting with them. They were getting along okay with their neighbors. And I was surprised. Everybody was surprised. And it actually worked in reverse because their neighbors then turned against them. Now Iran has one more opportunity to end its threats to America and our allies, and we hope they take it. Either way, America and the entire world will soon be much safer and will be a much more secure planet. In addition to all of this, we're working on so many different things. You know, our economy was fantastic. We had a Dow at 50,000. They say it couldn't happen in 4 years. It wouldn't happen during my term. But if I got anywhere close, it would be a great success. Well, in my first year, we hit 50,000. And with the S&P, they said, even more difficult. They said it would be impossible to hit 7,000 on the S&P. And we hit that in our first term. And then, unfortunately, I called Pete, I called General Kane, I called a lot of our great people. We have great people. And I said, let's talk. We got a problem in the Middle East. We have a country known as Iran that for 47 years has been just a purveyor of terror, and they're very close to having a nuclear weapon. We can keep going and get that 50,000 up to 55 and 60. There's no end. Or we can take a stop and make a little journey into the Middle East and eliminate a big problem. And, Pete, I think you were the first one to speak up. And you said, let's do it, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So we are now having really good discussions. They started last night, a little bit, the night before that. And I think they're You know, I think they're very good. They want peace. They've agreed they will not have a nuclear weapon, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll see. You have to get it done. But I would say there's a very good chance. And it began when I said that we were planning tomorrow on shooting down some of their power plants, and we're going to hold that up. Hopefully we won't have to do it. And hopefully we can make a deal that's good for all of us, including the Middle Eastern allies that have been very good to us, including Israel, that's been a great partner in this fight. They've really been a good partner in the fight. They fought hard. But we'll see what happens. I think there's a very good chance we're going to end up in a deal. And so we're giving it 5 days, and then we're going to see where that takes us. And I would say at the end of this period, I think it could very well end up being a very good deal for everybody, as good as if we went all the way and just literally annihilated the place, which if we don't have to do that, that would be a good thing, not a bad thing. In addition, after the appalling lines and massive disruptions at major airports nationwide last weekend, I am again demanding that Democrats in Congress immediately end their disgraceful shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security and restore the full funding for airport security and the TSA. They are holding it up because they want to take care of illegal immigrants coming into our country. They want to take care of criminals that are in sanctuary cities. They want to take care of transgender for everybody, literally the mutilization of our children, men in women's sports. But what they don't want to do is give us anything to do with citizenship for voting or voter ID. Can you imagine? We're the only country that doesn't do voter ID. Every country does voter ID. You know, brought to my attention today that we're the only country that does mail-in voting. Mail-in voting means mail-in cheating. I call it mail-in cheating. And we got to do something about it all, and it's part of Homeland Security. And I'm suggesting strongly to the Republican Party, don't make any deal on anything. The most important thing we can have is what's called the Save America Act. Don't make any deal on anything unless you include voter ID, and you have to be a citizen to vote. You have to show citizenship to vote. Very easy to do. It's very insulting when they say people can't do it because they don't know how to do it. Anybody that can't do it, I think it's a very insulting thing to say. The Democrats are fully to blame with the struggle of the great American public is going through at the airports. They're going through a big struggle right now, and we just put ICE in charge, and they're helping TSA, the agents, and they're working together so far very well. I actually suggested that in the airports they take off their masks, and they did that. In the airports, I'm a big believer in the mask because we have, you know, Biden allowed hundreds of thousands of killers into our country. We're rapidly getting them out, by the way. But they would go after these people if they knew exactly who they were. But in the airports, it's different. I didn't love the look in the airport as you get off the plane. So I made a request and they agreed to it. So they're not going to be doing that. We would also bring out, if we don't have enough, we will bring out the National Guard and, you know, where we need it to help out at the airports. But we're not going to let this happen. It's extortion by the Democrats. They're holding up money that's already been approved, and now they're willing to go $5 billion reduction in ICE in order to get the approval on a deal that they approved, the great big beautiful deal, which is the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cut in history. They want to basically renegotiate a deal that they already approved, and they're doing it largely for a criminal element. So also the Democrats are putting our country at great risk during this period of time, a period that they call a war. They call it a war. We call it a military operation. Their leaders during this time are, as you know, as you want to say, they're in a never land. Schumer is gone. I mean, he's a Palestinian. He should be fighting on the side of Palestine. He's actually become a Palestinian leader. I don't know. I've never seen a man change so much. He used to be pro-Israel. Now he's pro-Palestine.
अमेरिकी सदर डोनाल्ड ट्रंप अमेरिका में एक तकरीब से खिताब कर रहे हैं। अभी न्यूज़ में वक्त हुआ है एक ब्रेक का।